people waiting. Oh, I haven't even fucking checked my thing yet. There.
Oh, professional.
I know, right? Now we're live, everyone. Welcome to the BMillzebub after party. Shit. Nope. No. Won't even show me that now. There it is. Okay, there we go. We're good. Live chat. No one's chatting. We're good. Well, we're as good as it's gonna get.
Are you sure we're good?
I don't know.
You know, I'm just here dropping feminist bombs on Twitter.
Feminist bombs?
Yes, sir. You got to see the tweet. There's a tweet. It's the kind of tweet that would make Nick Fuentes foam at the mouth and beat his face against the wall. And I try my best to make those kinds of tweets as often as possible. Because I hate that squirrely little bastard.
So I'm old. I had a comment on my latest video that said, "You roxers," and I had to look up what roxers means. And I guess it means something that's great to the point of being overly excited about it. I'm an old man, and I have to deal with internet dictionaries.
You're an old man?
Dude, I have to Google shit all the time. It's
See,
fine.
I consider myself old, but I have no idea what that meant before you explained it.
Like, I don't know how. It's spelled ROXXORS.
Is that like Night of the Roxy?
I have no idea where it came from.
No, that shows how old I am, for fuck's sake. Like that Bill Burr joke. I love that Bill Burr joke where he was like, I was going to do some colleges, so I decided to listen to some of their music and see like if I could get into it so I'd have something relevant to talk about. So he was listening to it. He's like, I made it 90 seconds and I turned into an old man. I was like, that's not music. Back when I was a kid, we used to dress like a woman and sing about the devil.
You know, I hadn't looked at how many people are following me lately, and shit, man, I've got 59 to go, and that's 1,000 followers on Twitter. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
It's awesome,
dude.
That's what happens when you look like a roadie for Motorhead and you get on and talk about deconversion stories.
Roadie for Motorhead? They don't even tour anymore, man.
No, because he's dead. But if he was still alive, he'd be a roadie for him.
A roadie for Motorhead is really. You don't have to
keep
do
it down,
anything.
Man. Yeah, it's an easy job now.
Yeah, they're all like 2 of them are dead. We just, we just sit around and drink straight Jack Daniels.
Bible Belt. Welcome to the after party, Bible Belt.
Did you ever hear?
We're talking about me being a roadie for Motorhead, apparently. So
yeah, because I'm in the stream, so it's going to be weird. Did you ever hear this? Did you ever hear the story that I think it was Jerry Cantrell told? He said he and another guy were hanging out with Lemmy, and Lemmy was like, "You guys want to drink some, Jack Daniels?" And they were like, "Yeah." So he pulls out a fifth of Jack Daniels. He sets it in front of one of them, and they're getting ready to open it up to start like sharing it with him. But then he pulls out a second bottle and puts it in front of Jerry Cantrell, and he pulls a third fifth out, and puts it in front of himself.
Now we each have one.
Jerry Cantrell was like, I can't drink an entire fifth of Jack Daniels. And Lemmy, I guess, clowned the shit out of him. People talk about Keith Richards, man, but like Lemmy Kilmister drank a fifth of Jack Daniels, smoked like half a carton of cigarettes, and did speed all day for 68, 9 years. Non-stop. With no breaks. That guy's genetics were amazing.
Jeez.
Well,
Jeez.
the guy, somebody that I'm wanting to set up an interview with is in the hospital right now because his son had brought home some kind of a cold on steroids, and now he's got upper bronchial infection, and dealing with that. But he says he's using He's got a, what do you call it, like a media pad, like my little guy over there, and he's in the hospital still. He's going to try and jump in, but he's had to download the Google Hangouts app to do it. He's using Firefox, but you can plug the Hangouts app into Firefox. I know that already.
Well, it sucks. I hope he feels better.
Yeah.
Not much worse than a sick kid.
No, there's nothing worse than sick children. Nothing I can think of.
Yeah,
Well, he's not. He's not a children. He's an adult. His son is over the cold, but now he got it, and it ended up. No, he's the one that's hospitalized with the bronchial infection. Yeah, which sucks. He's gonna try it, but we'll see what happens. We'll get to hear him. Oh yeah, that was awesome. That your better half GI there was patrolling the chat to get rid of that proselytizing douchebag that was in there.
There was a proselytizing douchebag, and I missed it.
Yeah, for real. I joined the way through, unfortunately.
Yeah, he was. This is why I make everyone wrenches, so when they're in the chat, they can get rid of douchebags like that.
Dude, Stags. It was Stags, Artie, and a couple other people. Caleb, and this. I swear to God, Grumpy Dan or something like that. He's an Australian guy. We did a stream a couple days ago, and we had an anti-vaxxer show up, trying to quote mine Bertrand Russell, to say that Bertrand Russell said that vaccines were going to be the cause of like governments ruling people through hypnotic like means or some kind of crazy woo-woo tinfoil hat shit.
How the fuck would that even work?
We would try to get him to come on.
Believe that claim?
No. Well, maybe. I don't know. I'm agnostic.
Hey Nadine, I'm just curious. I noticed you're in the chat, and I don't know if you want to jump in the after party. Usually you do, so if you do, just type yes in there, and I'll see it eventually.
It's not to say without Nadine.
I know, right?
We need somebody to crochet. It's like the anchor. It's like the anchor to the show.
All right, she's in. Oh, what the hell have I done here?
Did you break it, Neil?
I think I broke my computer. Well, I didn't really, but oh boy, I suck at this, man.
Hey, you at least know how to do it. I still have to figure out the learning curve.
Where the hell?
Does anybody know how to create a Google Hangout from like a link from your Android?
Yeah, I do it all the time.
I can't do it. Like I go to Google Hangouts. It'll only allow me to invite people that are in my contacts.
Really?
Yeah.
That's bizarre. How come?
I don't know. I'm not as tech savvy as some people. Like I can't figure it out. I tried to do a little bit of research on it, and I still can't figure it out.
Yay! It worked. Okay, why am I hearing an echo?
What worked?
I sent a link to Nadine. I tried to send one to Atheist Rationale, but it kept coming up with that little pink header saying your message couldn't be sent.
Oh, that's just Twitter. Twitter does that every now and then.
If you want me to send links to somebody and I follow them, I will.
I see people.
Badger, you're still awake.
Yeah, probably not for long.
Well, I'm just glad you were able to jump in for a little bit. If you get tired, man, just bow out. It's all good.
Have you still got that dildo?
What?
Yeah. What?
That's a specific question.
Hey, look at this. If you look at this character, he's got a dildo in his hand. He says it's a beer, but we're all convinced it's a freaking dildo, man.
It's got that pink lipstick look to it.
Well, he is fully retractable by his own words.
There we go.
There we go.
Good.
Sorry, guys. I got drawn into a clip on Twitter of a dog crying after it was abandoned at a shelter, and the whole world just needs to be destroyed now. Like everything of this, just destroy it for this dog. I'm so sad.
Yeah, I know that the shit like that pisses me off too. If you couldn't keep the dog, why the fuck did you get it in the first place?
Well, that's like the biggest problem is people will get a dog for a Christmas present, and they have no idea what it's going to take to actually take care of the dog.
Hi, Nadine.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I'd love to have a dog, I can't afford to take care of it, so I'm not going to get one.
Yeah, I don't like do well with animals, pets at all. Like we have a dog, but it's not really my dog. I love him and I take care of him when I need to. But like if I were on my own, I wouldn't own any pets. Just because I know they wouldn't get the attention they needed. They wouldn't get the love they needed. So I just wouldn't own them.
I had a cat for a long time, and somebody poisoned him.
Oh man.
Yeah,
that's some chicken shit business right there.
Well, first he shoots him with a BB gun, and I had to get his whole fucking front leg repaired. It was in fucking steel braces and shit in there. Yeah, he shoots him point blank, like literally, boom, over top. And he survived that, and then years later, the same guy fucking poisoned him.
Jeez.
That's
like,
fucked
what an
up.
Asshole. Because he was just wandering around in his yard. It's like, so fucking what? He's a cat. They do that.
Yeah, it's not like he's going to shit all over your yard. I mean, cats at least have the good grace of digging a hole first.
And then burying it.
Might come in and eat all your birds, though.
Spiders. My guys tend to really like to eat spiders.
So hey,
actually,
that reminds
me. A trailer. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
So we have the people at my work. They entered into a contest for the city where they made a scarecrow, and this scarecrow they dressed up as a police officer. So they bought a police uniform for this scarecrow, and it's a tiny scarecrow. It's like a little bitty kid size. But the uniform looks just like a regular uniform, like you would see on a cop. Well, this morning there was a spider on this scarecrow's arm, and I took a really close-up shot of it, and then I sent it to Nacha, which with the close-up shot, it looks like a gigantic spider on this person's arm. For those that don't know, Nacha does not like spiders.
No. I imagine not. He lives in Australia. They got spiders there that'll freaking kill you, dude. They got like,
there you go.
How do you not like spiders?
Oh, there you
go.
There it is.
The way this looked with scale, it looked like it was like a foot across.
Actually, are you still talking about the spider? Because that was the most out of context funny thing ever.
I should mention this is small for me. That's a full-sized representation.
What the hell is that?
It's a dick with a lotus on the end of it, apparently.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because people have cake.
Because people have cake.
No, cake.
Okay.
I thought he said cake too. I was terribly confused there.
Yeah, at first that's what I thought.
Get the straw out of your ears.
Because people have cake.
I like cake. What does that mean? I like fucking iris dildos now, or whatever the fuck you call it.
Yes, that's what it means. That's precisely what it means.
You're into giant horse dildos now. I think that's what we're going at here.
Oh boy.
And,
you're gonna have to
give you a message.
You're gonna have to dye your beard pink now.
Me?
What was said?
GI. His honey left him a message.
Oh, she did?
On the chat, the live chat.
Oh God. Is this more of that like little messages she was sending the other day? Little cutesy messages?
No. She called him a jerk. We're sending Natcha the spider picture.
It was hilarious. The thing looked gigantic.
That's awesome. I might happen to
tell you, I probably would have done the same thing. So,
see,
knowing Notch's fear of spiders, I like to prey on that kind of thing.
I would have definitely done the same thing. There's no question.
I have a question for you guys. Since most of you are ex-believers of a serious kind, like unlike me, who really never even read the Bible. I had the Noah stories and all that kind of stuff, but that was mostly just from the books, and I don't even remember going to church. So the question is I saw, what was it earlier? SJ was saying about how the like, why don't we believe in God?
Yeah, we saw that.
Like, why don't atheists believe in God? Has it never ever occurred to them? Like, even I know this, that God has hardened our hearts, and no matter what we do or they do, we will not believe. Like, it even says it in their fucking book. So what the fuck?
It's definitely occurred to Cy Tim Bruggencake and all of his people. Because the Reformed, that's the guy, Bruggencake, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't know that guy's fucking name, man. I'm not a fucking
Burger Cake.
Burger Cake.
Burger Cake. Yeah.
No, the Reformed Christians believe that though. The Reformed Christians actually believe that people are created for the purpose of going to hell for God's glory.
Well, see, the other thing about the Reformed doctrine, too, and I actually got in a Twitter spat with the Reformed Christian apologist, and if I'm not mistaken, he actually deleted the tweet, because I can't find it anymore. But about this notion that not only does God harden certain hearts, but you also know that God is real. So it's like it's one of those beliefs that they hold in tension, like, God hardens hearts to where people can't believe, but also you actually know that God exists. And so I just took this dude to task, and said, look, knowledge is a subset of belief. You cannot know something without believing it. That's just basic epistemology. And as far as I can tell you the thread, but I interact with a lot of Reformed people, and the amount of double think that they have to do, the beliefs and tension, just blow my mind. And for people like SJ, which would be more how I'd qualify myself as a believer, like the idea, whenever I was a theist, the idea that somebody could not believe in God was just so alien. So I understand why she asked the question, even given the biblical context. But the idea of non-belief just it just blew my mind.
But SJ has asked that question like 1,000 times before. Yeah. And some people, in answering that question, also said that she's just attention seeking, which I believe.
What she's doing is she's looking for the person who says, because my kid died or because this bad thing happened in my life. And then she can swoop in there with her subpar apologetics and say, hey, and agreed. Like, if that's the reason you don't believe in God, perhaps you need to further examine your beliefs. But there's a lot of reasons not to believe in God, and I've run into very few people. That might have been the catalyst that sent you towards non-belief. How could a good God do this? And then you wind up at atheism. But very rarely do people just like, I don't believe in God because I hate him. And that's kind of like how the apologist wants to engage in the conversation.
That's very true. That's incredibly true.
Like, people like us don't really fit into, people like SJ's ideas. Because a lot of us spent years researching this to figure out what we believe. It has nothing to do with desire to believe or not. We just don't. because that's where evidence led us.
Or Nadine, who's never been a believer, really.
Yeah, yeah, and like it's just ridiculous. But like I had what did I say to her? I said something to the effect of because it's a story, and then I said if God was real, came down in front of me, right into my room, and booped me on the nose, I would still not worship the fucker. I would believe in him, but I would not worship the fucker because he's a fucking dick. He would just get a what for, and that's it. You know. Well, I didn't say fucking, but he's a. You know, I'm like I would give him a what for and kick him out, or kick his arse like. You know, there's no way I'm in the same place. Anybody or anything. So
I'm in the same place. I'd accept that it exists, but I definitely wouldn't worship it.
Oh yeah, no, but really, I don't believe that he exists. But like I said, for the thought of the thought process is you know, I wouldn't believe him if he, you know, I wouldn't worship him if he was real, because you know what? Fuck you, asshole.
Well, it's funny though. It's funny because she tried that apologetic shit with my answer. Because my answer was that the reason I don't believe is I spent countless nights on my face crying out for God's presence, anything, and got nothing. I spent 28 years with radio silence. And one day I was like, why am I doing this? I would be so much happier if I weren't doing this, and stopped. And, you know, she had this like, what was it she said? She said, anyone who is seeking God will find Jesus, something along those lines. And my only answer to her is, you're not paying attention. Like, I was seeking.
Yeah.
He's not fucking there. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. And I found my conversation and answer, and that was Ben somebody. Why would God need to create beings to worship him? It would be, to what end would God need their ego boosted like that? Why would he condemn those who didn't massage his ego to eternal suffering? What difference does it actually make to an omnipotent, say it. Yeah, thank you, being. Ben, and I replied, Ben, exactly. But also for me, even if God materialized in front of me and booped me on the nose, I wouldn't worship him. I would give him a piece of my mind and kick him to the curb. The hateful thing is God doesn't deserve anyone's worship or fear.
It's curb, by the way.
And of course, SJ never saw this or paid any attention to it.
And Badger,
to anybody else but me.
Well, she's not going to pay attention.
I did that in one of my earlier videos about the subject. I decided the best way to, if God turned out to be real, he should be put on trial for war crimes.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And crimes against humanity.
I did that trial in one of my
literally every potential charge you could throw at God, you should.
Well, I did the list.
Check
I did the whole list.
Check out the video he's talking about, because he puts them on trial.
So God, and how old were you when you entered Mary? And how old was Mary?
Yeah, how old was Mary?
Yeah.
2 billion years old first.
Still not quite as gross. It's still not quite as gross as Muhammad entering in his 9-year-old freaking wife.
Oh,
whatever.
That's brutal. That's brutally bad. Brutally bad.
So, and good news, guys. I know Neil's asked a couple times. I'm working on my Etsy shop right now.
Awesome.
And my website.
And Evans, you were going to say something else about SJ there?
Oh, no, go ahead.
She just makes no sense as an apologist to me, because whenever confronted with questions like that, like if you asked her, oh, well, how old was Mary whenever God impregnated her? She would say, well, entered. She would say something along the lines of, well, I mean, it was just culturally right to bang 12-year-olds at that point in time. Like, that's what people did.
Can I jump in on that for a second? Because like I had a fucking point I tried to make with Non-Sec the other day when they were talking about how the reason God didn't just say don't own slaves was because it had a societal. It was like a societal norm to own slaves at the time, and
So
I pointed out that right. But just hear me out. I had said, well, if that's the case, then if God is omnipotent, like how is he like beholden to the whims of human society? Why can't he just come out and say, hey, you know what? Don't own fucking slaves. And then on top of that, like he doesn't have a problem condemning homosexuality, which has been a social convention for as long as there have been fucking humans, right?
Or animals.
So if you're going to regulate slavery because it's a social convention, why not regulate homosexuality because it's a social convention? The entire argument is stupid and falls apart on every single level.
Well, the thing about it is which that's a great point, and it leads into the next one is you're claiming that your God is beholden to cultural relativism as far as moral standards go.
Yeah,
it's almost like we made him up.
No. Imagine that.
Almost.
Dickhead fucking asshole made him up.
It's funny how our gods all the time seem to agree with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got a question for people here. I'm going to ask you that because I have watched countless. I don't call them debates because I don't think they're really debates, but
discussions.
What is there a point of discussions with people like SJ or Cy10 Brugenkade or things like that? Because they don't even agree with each other. Like Cy10 the other day was like, no, SJ, you're wrong. It wasn't Jesus talking to you. So according to Cy, SJ is probably going to hell because she listened to a demon.
I called him out on that. With the Bible.
So not straw man side, that probably wouldn't actually. He wouldn't consider her as, and I hate to actually defend Cy in this, but I have a lot of Reformed friends, so I'm pretty well versed in the Reformed theology and their doctrines. He wouldn't consider that she's going to hell. He would just consider that she's gravely mistaken about her experiences. He would still concede that she is a true Christian. He would just say that she's following false teaching. Now, there are people who would say that SJ is wrong, but to give Cy what little bit of presuppositionalist bullshit credit he deserves, that's Reformed theology is strange.
Like, what my point here is, if any discussion I've ever seen with SJ, and I've been in a discussion with SJ in the past, and the same things for Cy10, is they never actually answer any question that's posed to them.
Nope.
They will
because it'd be the kiss of death if they did.
What? Yeah. What? I never heard of this, that they never answered any questions.
They will circle around a topic so much that your head's spinning. And then like one of SJ's things that she does is she'll get you to the point where you're like, just answer the fucking question. And she'll go, I don't know why you're getting so upset. I've answered this question like 30 times.
Yeah, not once.
not once. But that's the way that they approach the situation. And Cy10 is the worst. Presuppositionalists are the worst. The entire presuppositionalist thing is a script. Like I found a website online where they basically lay out the entire precept script and how to counter every single point.
Oh yeah.
The entire purpose of the precept script is to just exacerbate people in the situation, just make them so mad they throw their hands up in disgust and walk away, and then you get to say, look, see, my apologetics are fucking untouchable. And it's like they're not untouchable. It's bullshit. You're full of shit.
What happens. That's what happens. You get angry, and then they can say, "Oh, look at the angry atheists. We told you that they were going to be this way."
To answer your direct question, I think, and this will just speak to the reason that I engage in things like this. Like, one, I have a sneaking suspicion that things like slavery and things like genocide actually bother SJ. Like that part of the Old Testament does not comport with what she believes to be about God. And that's why she keeps coming back to it, because those are things that she posts about repeatedly over and over and over again. So I have a sneaking suspicion that these are things that she can't really rectify with what she believes to be true about the world. So she's trying to cram those things in. So one, I think it's good that people continue to push up against them. But two, I would consider myself, whenever I was a believer, whenever I was in my devout days, as someone on par with SJ. Not Psi, because presuppositionalism is really different from kind of your standard apologetics.
Yeah, I thought as a Christian, I thought Reformed Christianity was heresy.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you 100%. And I wasn't as aware of Reformed theology. It was just kind of like, those Calvinists are crazy, you know.
I'm going to grab another beer.
So, but to answer, you know, why I would engage in these conversations is one, I never know what words I speak now might echo through the years, because there are things that I heard from various people that resonated along the time frame. And we know that people don't change their mind instantly. The other reason is there may be a person who has followed her Twitter because they're seeking answers and they see that she's an apologist, and they can run up against her arguments being systematically destroyed by various people on Twitter. If we were silent, they might go down the path of SJism versus atheism, you know. And so
exactly.
That's kind of why I engage. Plus, I enjoy sharpening my own arguments, because occasionally I will get stumped or some new thing will be thrown up that I haven't considered yet. And like I say, most of the people that I spar with are Reformed now, and that's been a huge learning curve over the normal sort of version of apologetics. Presuppositionalism can really tangle you up, because like Duke said, it's almost intentionally inflammatory.
And see,
yeah, but you can actually shut presuppositionalism down with the Bible.
Yeah,
there is actually a verse in the Bible that shuts it down. And I know this from when I was a Christian, and I used to debate these people as a Christian. And I would say, you know, I think it's 2 Peter 2:8. I think that's the verse. I haven't studied in a long time, so if I'm wrong, please forgive me. But I remember in the King James, but it's God is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is very gracious to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. Right? So there's a double down there. Not willing that any should perish, but that all. Not willing that any, but that all. It's a double down. You can't cut it any other way. The Reformed theology, from a biblical standpoint, is flawed just by that one verse. Yeah. So either you have to throw that verse out.
Well, I think the thing about it is, and anybody that's interested in this topic that wants to get deeper into it, there's a debate between Matt Slick and Jesse Morrell. And it's a fantastic debate that anybody that's interested in kind of Arminian theology versus Calvinist theology should watch, because both of these people pull quote after quote after quote out of the Bible to shore up their positions. And Jesse's position is non-Calvinistic; it's Arminian, that people can choose to be saved, if you will. And then, of course, Matt Slick is a presuppositionalist Calvinist, 5-point Calvinist, and so he brings it from. But what is interesting about that debate, and what should be cause for concern for any theist or any Christian out there, is that both these people are just pulling out troves of scripture to support their position over probably the most important aspect of biblical faith. Like, you can argue about the flood and the literal creation and things like that, and that's kind of tertiary issues to the central core theme of the book. But these people are literally talking about how you obtain your eternal gifts, and they're not anywhere close to each other, and they're both using a tremendous amount of scripture. It's not an appeal to emotion, you know, and they're pulling it out. And that is a debate that I encourage anyone who is remotely interested in the topic, Matt Slick and Jesse Morrell.
So I'll look into that.
Both of them do a great job. And
so
it's like, you know, whenever they go through their opening statements, I'm thinking, gosh, Matt Slick, he's got this down. And then Jesse will talk. I go, oh my God, you know, this guy. And it's one of those that every time that somebody talks, my opinion shifts on the matter, even though I think it's all bunk. You know, it's still, and that's the most important doctrine related to Christianity.
Can you shoot me a link to that?
Yeah, hold on.
So can I take us back to one thing real quick? Because when I first got into Twitter and YouTube and the like, I felt along the same way as Evans did about SJ, because a lot of times when people post the same topic over and over, or especially when they're preachers and they preach about the same topic, it's generally an issue that they're having themselves. But it also seems like the more I'm on Twitter and the longer I see this, I think she's found some buzz arguments that can piss off atheists really easily. And then she can just use that and say, see all these atheists, they're just coming against me. They're just attacking me left and right.
You know what? I'll back you up on that, because there was one time she was at the Heathen Hour, and it was Holy Kool-Aid and GC, and I don't remember who else was there. But some people said some nasty things to her, and I shut them down. I was actually in there, and I was like, don't do that. Just knock it off. You know what I mean? And she immediately jumped out and said, oh, I can't do this anymore because they're so hateful and they're so bigoted. I couldn't even stay in the chat. And it was like, the only reason you went into the chat was to be able to say that. Was to be able to come back out of the chat and say, oh, I can't even deal with these atheists because they're so mean. And I called her out on Twitter and said, no, I directly told the guy that did that to stop doing it, and he agreed. So you could have easily stayed.
Well, and that's like I've said before, if you keep the exact same arguments that SJ uses and you make her a black man, she's G-man. and there's really no difference between the arguments that they use. G-man gets a little bit louder and a little more annoying, but it's the exact same arguments.
I don't really know G-man very well.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah.
I'm starting copying and pasting my responses to her now because she keeps posting the same things.
Yeah, that's all you got to do, because she'll post the same articles, the same tweets, and half the time she's blocked half of us, so the half that responded the last time can't respond, and then she'll unblock them the next time.
I mean, I don't doubt that there is some aspect to her grandstanding and her posting these things to generate more attention for her blog, but I really don't see that as I almost view that as a good thing, you know, because if it gets more traffic, especially from the theistic side, and they actually investigate, and the people who are actually curious about this, or who may become curious later on in life, like in my situation, then they're going to see these arguments radically fail. It's like, especially on slavery and genocide and things like that, because there's not. And a reformed apologist will just say, yeah, there's no problem with slavery in biblical context. Who cares? Let's move on. You know, and then you get to call them a moral monster. But people like her and people who have some sort of a relative moral compass that's not tied to a 2,000-year-old book may see it and may move on. And like, hey, more power to them.
Mm. Hey, Evans, can you turn up your volume a little bit?
I don't know, actually.
Yeah, you sound muted.
I think the only one of that lot of people that's blocked me is Andrew Strat whatever.
He blocked me too.
Yeah.
I called him Andrew Stradalatus. I called him a disingenuous person, and he told me that if I didn't take it back, he would shun me.
That's pretty much the same thing.
Ooh, no!
Shun the non-believer.
I said something, and then he said, well, then all the teeth have fallen out of your argument. And I said, how? You got to demonstrate that, and he blocked me.
No, yeah, he did the same thing. He also likes to grandstand like he's some kind of like amazing apologist that can't be touched. I got into it with him and SJ, and SJ made the comment that she'd like to have me on a stream because she thinks that I can't back my fucking claims up. And I was like, bring it. Say when. And she was like, no, you have to debate Andrew first because he asked first or some shit. And it was like, unbeknownst to her, I'd already hit Andrew up in the DMs to say, I'll debate you on any subject that's something that I don't agree with, anytime. You just gotta, let me know when. 1, you gotta let me know when. 2, you gotta give me some time to prepare. 3, I'm not gonna come on Red Pill Religion to get dogpiled by your fucking droogs. I'm not doing that. Like, if you wanna, it'll be one-on-one, man-to-man, a discussion, not a debate. And you got to give me about 3 weeks to prepare. You named the subject. He wanted to debate me on mythicism, which I'm not a mythicist. So it was like, I don't know why you want to debate me on that. I'm agnostic on that point. So
I would be a better person to debate on that because I am a mythicist.
Right. And so he saw my DM and ignored it. And then fast forward a couple weeks, he starts putting some shit out about how blasphemy laws are okay because blasphemy is the same as libel, or roughly the same as libel. And I lit his ass up on Twitter, and he got butthurt and fucking blocked me and shit. I called him a coward.
Who here said they were a mythicist?
Me, BMillzebub.
BMillzebub. Well, you don't accept all of the biblical scholars who were Christian and Bart Ehrman's expectations that Jesus is definitely a man.
I don't think Bart still says that anymore, does he?
I don't think he ever has said 100%, but people act like he does.
There may have been a man or a bunch of men that the story is based on, but the Jesus as discussed in the Bible almost certainly didn't exist. I mean, there are no contemporary writings about this guy. I mean, we're talking about a dude that was fucking shit up for the Jews in ancient Rome.
Yeah. Not only that,
but nothing written down about him outside the
nobody comes back from death 3 days later. After cellular death has happened, you don't come back.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing is, I'm only agnostic because I haven't read all the arguments. It's not that I'm agnostic because I don't think it's possible. It's just one of those things where I'm not schooled enough on it to have an opinion, so I am withholding judgment until I do.
I got you. I was just gonna say it's funny to me that, like, if you were to say that, that's absolutely fine. But there are some people out there, even in the atheist community, that get really angry when mythicism gets brought up. And that doesn't make any sense to me, because if we were having this conversation 70 years ago, we would be talking about Moses and Abraham, and now almost no one believes that those characters existed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Duke as far as mythicism goes. You know, I think that it's.
I got something to work.
Yay!
Sorry. I've been having stuff.
I don't know that it makes a difference. I mean, it would make a huge difference if we could prove unequivocally that mythicism were true. Like if we could say, okay, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Jesus didn't exist. Well, that's a nail in the coffin of Christianity. But I haven't seen. I haven't seen. Done, really. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that argument where it's purely to the point where there's no question. You know what I mean? There's still some level of agnosticism there, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if he existed. There was a fucking butt ton of apocalyptic fucking preachers in that time period. So
name Jesus.
Yeah, Yeshua,
Yeah.
Joshua, which is a really fucking common name. So
But
it doesn't really make a difference. It's the same with like Satya Sai Baba. And when I brought that up to SJ, when she started talking about witnesses and that stuff, she jumped to like, that's a red herring. It's like, how is it a red herring? Like, thousands of people have attested to the fact that Satya Sai Baba did the things he said he did. Is he real because of that? Because of the witnesses to it? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, either you have to accept that every fucking person that has a dickload of fucking witnesses that says they did something is real, i.e. Muhammad, Buddha, whoever the fuck you want to throw in there, or you have to accept that it's fiction.
If I can get a load of people to write written accounts of how that dildo picture earlier is an accurate representation of my actual dimensions, would that prove that it's true?
Well, it's
weird ass foreskin.
It's certainly an accurate representation of whatever it is you're holding in your hand.
Well, not only that, but if witness representation, like Jesus appearing to the 500, is the linchpin of your Christianity, then accounts like Satya Sai Baba, who has tens of thousands of people who will attest to his miracles, shouldn't, if that's your standard of evidence, shouldn't the claims of Satya Sai Baba far outweigh those of Jesus? I mean, he just appeared to a measly 500 after he resurrected, plus a handful of disciples.
Yeah.
Like Satya Sai Baba made Ash appear in the air to tens of thousands.
That's the point I made. And she called it a red herring, and I called her out on it. And I said, no, it's not a red herring. It's not. Either the standard of evidence that you hold for Jesus holds to everybody, or you're making special exception. One way or the other. Like, you can't have it both ways.
Well,
Shane,
logic is not exactly her strong suit. So
it's not by any means.
Shane in the chat has said, provide citation for Jesus being a common name. Jesus is the Romanized Yeshua, which was also it's Joshua, basically.
Yep.
And so Joshua was one of the main early, what do they call, Neil, you're the one that would know this. What are they called?
Prophet?
What are you talking about?
Like the early leaders of Israel, they have a certain name that people associate with them. Like
What, rabbis?
No, I can't. Like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The fathers are
patriarchs.
Patriarchs, yes. And Joshua was one of the lesser patriarchs.
They were referred to as kings usually.
Okay. But yeah, it was a major name. So it would be like Matt. Matt's a huge name. Like, there's probably a Matt that holds just about every job in the U.S.
Citation, please.
It's just like a very common name.
I can't help it. Come on, I can't help it.
If you were with Christos or Christ, that was added after. That was added long after.
I know someone called James in pretty much every aspect of my life.
Yeah,
absolutely.
My Hebrew name nowhere.
Or John.
John Doe.
In pretty much every social group that I'm in.
Yeah.
And then there's Mike.
Yeah, that's
years.
That's the point. Is that what was it? Jesus was like the Greek name, wasn't it? Isn't that how the Greek said it?
Jesus is Roman Greek kind of, yeah.
Right, because they lack the same vowels or something. There's a change in the etymology of the word, so that it changes from Yeshua to Jesus. And
the letter J wasn't even invented until 600 years ago.
There you go. So fuck Jesus.
No, the Bible says Jesus, and it's 2,000 years old, Neil. Jeez. Quit persecuting me.
Hey man, I can provide citation for that.
But first, you have to dye your beard pink.
Why?
Yeah, yes, good point.
Because I want to see it happen. God damn it! I'm a contrarian. I just want to see you with a pink beard. It's October. God damn it!
Go watch Dilla Hunt.
That's a good enough reason, really. It's just October. You've got to do it.
Yeah, it's Breast Awareness Month, dude. Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
I was going to say, I don't think it's Breast Awareness Month.
It's Breast Awareness Month. Every month is Breast Awareness Month. I'm aware of breasts all the time.
I am very I love to be as aware of as many breasts as I can at all times. So.
Speaking of the Twitter arguments, I did manage to at least I'm not gonna get the whole ego trip going and say I managed to stump this person, but I did at least manage to get her to stop replying. That was Eve did that one.
No, you stumped her. If she stopped replying, you stumped her.
Yeah. We did. She was doing the whole 7% of atheists believe in God thing that they like doing. We were going back and forth on definitions for ages, and she tried to do the whole thing she likes going on about Anthony Fleur's attempt to redefine it away from the belief there is no God to lack of belief in. My reply was, the second one includes the first one, neither include people who believe in God. And she stopped replying.
That's how I always know when I've got one of those bastards. I've done it a few times with the Red Pill Religion guys, where it's like, because they are all last word having motherfuckers. It doesn't matter what you fucking say, they're going to have the last word. So if you fucking say something and they never respond, and you've been back and forth with them for a while, you got them. That's just a fact. I did that shit to Buckley one time, man, where he tried to make the statement that anti-theists want to kill all the religious people. And I was like, I don't know any... Yeah, he said that shit. And I said, I don't know any anti-theist person that wants to kill religious people.
No.
And he said something along the lines of, what was it? Look up the League of the Militant Godless, right? Which is a Russian organization that existed from 1927 to I think 1945. And earlier, what was it? I said I more or less just pointed out, like, you know, we could hold the Catholics accountable for the crimes against the Jews because they hated the fucking Jews, and that's just a fact. You know what I mean? Like, you can just look over, like, they just didn't like the Jews, and that was a big problem. And he was like, I haven't seen any pogroms happen since 1945. And I said, well, that's interesting you should say that, because earlier you brought up the League of the Militant Godless, and they stopped being active in 1945. So if you could bring them up, I can bring up the pogroms of the fucking church in 1945, dude. I mean, like, if you can go back that far, I can go back that far. And radio silence. Radio fucking silence. No reply, no nothing. Just pretend I didn't say it. It's like, yeah, I got you on that one, didn't I, you little bitch?
See, I'm amazed that there wasn't a retort. I'm amazed that there wasn't a retort with special pleading. That really surprises me.
There was no special pleading to be had, dude. I had him at checkmate, and he was just like, okay, I'm just going to pretend like he didn't talk.
Well, I mean, how often does that stop them, though? I mean, Jesus, when I was a Catholic still, I would do special pleading even after I was pushed all the way into a corner.
I don't know. Maybe Buckley's hypocrisy only goes so far.
What happened there, Badger?
It broke. It just went. This page just stopped responding.
Awesome. I thought that was me for a second.
There's two of me. I am actually a godlike being. I can be everywhere and nowhere.
Awesome.
Oh my God, that's not. You're not godlike. You just have a fucking portal to Narnia, and you just bounce from place to place.
I'm not sure, but I think Shane maybe misunderstood when I made my joke towards BMillzebub. I'm a mythicist too. I don't think there was a historical Jesus, but Yeshua is another name for Joshua, which is Jesus is the Greek version
of Yeshua. It's just a fact. It's just a fact.
Yeah. And there is a citation up there. If you look at Mrs. Snarky's citation, she put it up there.
A form of a citation. Every kid that I knew in Hebrew school, this name was Joshua. Their Hebrew name was Yeshua.
Yeah.
It's the sixth most popular name.
Yeah, sixth most popular name in Judaism.
Yep.
Which is surprising because you had some great ones back in the day, like Mekakel and Shkokamuku.
Yeah, Methuselah.
Every Muslim is called Muhammad now.
Wait. Who was the guy in the Old Testament that was like God but not God?
Melchizedek.
Melchizedek. That's right.
Melchizedek.
I probably butchered the name. It probably doesn't sound anything like that in Hebrew. But...
Well, if you're going to talk in Hebrew, you have to throw some in there. You have to throw some like Melchizedek.
Like my Hebrew name.
Your Hebrew name is Nechil.
No.
See, and now I'm just thinking of that Family Guy episode where Peter learns that Lois is part Jewish, and he's like, "My new Jew name is."
I'm actually interested in
a curse on you for watching Family Guy.
I love that.
Stop watching Family Guy when they stop doing the chicken fights.
That's like the worst show ever.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. I'm going to come tomorrow and cut off your Johnson.
My what?
Your Johnson, Lebowski. We are nihilists. We are nihilists, Lebowski. We believe in nothing.
We believe in nothing, Lebowski. God damn.
And tomorrow we come back and we cut off your Johnson.
So what is your Hebrew name, Neil?
It is Nahum.
Nahum?
Yep.
And what does that mean?
I have no fucking idea.
Well, this has been Hebrew with Neil.
That's right.
I think it's literally just the name. I think it means... actually, that's a good... I should fucking look that up.
Nahum obviously means like cleaning out your sinuses with a neti pot.
Let's see.
I gotta love how his name actually did have a...
Is somebody dying?
I was trying to swallow some ravioli.
I am, but that's unrelated to the noise.
Well, he's just tried to choke on air.
No, I'm trying to eat ravioli, and then you made that joke, and then I just choked on it.
Another one of them dang Bible Belt atheists.
Oh, well, hey.
That's all right. Well, I almost made Neil spit his scotch out one time, so it's fine.
Here's the meaning of the Hebrew name Nahum. It means comforter.
So you're like a fucking blanket?
Apparently, I'm a comforting sort. Apparently, I don't know.
You are a comforting sort. I love you, you son bitch.
I mean,
that's surprisingly fitting.
You've got the long hair to go along with it. So.
My name is truly humble. It means God's gift.
And the man godless Iowan was humble, unlike any man that's ever lived.
But he was God's gift to everyone.
Sweet. My name is Son of Evan.
Okay, so with my middle name together, if you use my middle name and my first name, technically I've a Jew once told me that it meant small package. Because my middle name means small, my first name means gift, and together they would mean small package.
That makes sense.
Well, that's just rude. Is what that is.
Are we supposed to not expect anything big from you for Christmas, or what?
You can expect something big. He'll just have to strap it on first.
I mean, of course, we're completely neglecting the real victim here. I mean, Mrs. Snarky has to deal with that.
I can provide some. I can provide a larger package if you need.
Apparently, with an unholy blossom on the end.
Oh my goodness! Holy!
All right, guys, I'm out of here.
That thing is a fucking cudgel, man.
Who's out of here? Evans, you leaving?
I'm out of here. I told my kid I'd play some Minecraft with her. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I actually have to get off of here too. It's storming pretty bad right now, so.
Oh, okay.
I'll talk to you guys later. This has been a lot of fun, and it was nice talking to you, BMillzebub.
It's a mouthful. It's a mouthful. Yeah. That's what she said. Oh.
Nice to meet all you new folks. Y'all take it easy and have a good night.
Yeah,
good night.
Thanks for joining, guys.
Thanks,
Hey, if you guys are curious, my name means man warrior.
Ooh, look at
Suck
you.
it. Suck it.
My real name, or my non-Hebrew name, Neil, is actually from Greek, and it means champion.
There you go. So I'm the man warrior, and you're the champion.
Yeah. And I am Victory Hope.
Oh, well, there you go.
That sucks.
That sucks. Why?
I don't know. I just felt like saying it. Because I'm a cunt.
Give him a finger.
I'm just a great big cunt. I'm just a big dick. There's no rhyme or reason behind what I say. It just
open your mouth and stuff falls out, eh?
Well, I thought I'd try to come up with the literal translation of the Latin name for badger, but apparently it literally means badger.
Jesus. Oh, I actually just looked up my names because I couldn't remember, but Benjamin is son of my right hand, and David is either beloved or uncle.
So your right hand is your uncle?
It's funny because my uncle's name is David. So.
Dude, your right hand is your uncle.
Well, I mean, with all the extracurricular activities, it's entirely possible. But
hey, I'm with you, man. My right forearm and bicep are huge.
Oh my goodness! I got it through work.
I think I have a coffee addiction from Timmy's.
You think so?
So you have an addiction to inferior coffee.
I've realized
I like Timmy's.
I've realized that since I started doing carpentry, I'm gonna have like a massive wanker's arm because I do pretty much all of my sawing with my right arm.
You masturbate too much. Quit trying to act like it's not that.
He's gonna look like Quagmire on Family Guy when he discovers.
That's why I do all the sawing with that arm, because the arm is so powerful from the masturbation.
Certainly from that fucking dildo.
So guys, I'm throwing a link into the chat. Can somebody click on it and say hi to me through the Facebook chat thing that says how can we help you?
No.
What?
Somebody,
what?
Anybody.
I can't.
Anybody that's in the chat or in the live chat, anybody.
Yeah, I don't like you that much.
I don't think I can do it on Facebook.
I don't care who does it, as long as somebody does it sooner or later. I just want to see if it works, because I'd be chatting to myself, which.
So I should go into the chat and post links to giant dildos. That'd be great. What?
That's my thing.
Jesus. I will never trust a link from you because I know it's going to go to like a bad dragon or something like that.
Dude, I'm going to totally... Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to totally send you like 100 straight up cool links to things that you can trust. I'm going to earn your trust. I'm going to get you down. And then I'm going to send you gay fucking Santa.
I don't think this is going to work very well, but this is the whole tweet conversation with Eve not responding at the end of it.
Yeah, I can't read that.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd be able to, but I thought I'd try anyway.
You should send that to me in DMs. I'd like to read it.
I will do. Also, I probably sound like shit right now, because this is my shit microphone.
Woo! I just got messaged. I tested in my phone. Yay!
Almost sounds like someone grabbed something right there.
Who wanted the conversation?
I did, because I'm. It's hard for me to switch between accounts when I'm testing the Facebook app in my blog. I posted in my blog a link to my Facebook Messenger app, so it kind of pops up and asks if you need help with anything or whatever.
I don't see anything like that.
It's I don't know if it'll work on Twitter.
With Twitter.
I went right to the website.
Or mobile, I mean. I'm not sure if it'll work on mobile. I haven't tested out the mobile bit yet. I'm working on it.
Why are you not crocheting?
Because I'm working on my website so I can sell some stuff so I could buy some more yarn.
You should be crocheting. It's not the same. If you don't have some kind of crazy freaking thing you're working on, it's not the same. You've ruined
that I'm working on. It's scraps.
But you're not actively working on it, man.
I am working on my website for my crafts, so I'm still crafting. I'm just building website crafting.
Yeah, but you're supposed to be crafting the whole time. Killing me.
Deal with it.
I'm brokenhearted.
Thank you.
I love how you react to things and nobody knows what you're reacting to. You just squeal and grab your phone and say thank you, and it's awesome.
Oh, look at this fucking guy. Sulfuric acid versus Mentos. But he's got a picture of the sulfuric acid and it's fucking pink. Like, what the fuck?
Don't fuck with the chemist.
Did you get it?
It's a hint that you should dye your beard pink.
Oh, is that what it is?
It is. Dye your fucking beard pink, dude. It's gonna be fucking mecca. It's gonna be epic as fuck.
No, I'm not dyeing my beard pink.
Why?
Because I'll never live it down at work.
Dude, you could totally play the sensitive guy. You know, you could just be like, I love women and breasts.
What's that guy called? How do you pronounce his name? Joel Osteen, is that his name?
Joel Osteen?
Yeah, the mega church guy.
Yeah.
Somebody put a picture of his one of his tweets up on the thing. It says, "The facts may tell you one thing, but God is not limited to the facts. Choose faith in spite of the facts." This big grinning face above this message, like,
excuse me.
With his big horse mouth?
Yeah.
His big fucking giant horse mouth?
This video here that says average American versus average Canadian. It's got a picture of a big fat dude eating a cheeseburger versus a guy with a lumberjack look with an axe in his fucking hand. So that should be interesting. Because, all Canadians are fucking lumberjacks for some reason.
That's fucking false advertising. We all know it.
It's clickbait.
I'd like
pink sulfuric
comparison with the. I'd like to say a comparison with the average Brit with a picture of that kid doing the. I can't believe you've done this.
Let's be honest. The average Canadian is a hipster. He's got a waxed mustache, and he's apologizing for everything. Let's just be fair.
Well, I'd agree with apologizing for everything. But everything else about that statement, I think I would have a problem with. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because you don't have a waxed mustache.
Let's see if I can do this one-handed.
Where are you taking it?
I'm taking you to go get a glass of water so I can take some pills. Ooh, kind of bright. Oh, wow.
What the hell is that? The light from heaven?
Well. I can be angelic.
How's the godless pheasant doing?
The faithless pheasant's doing just fine. He's
faithless pheasant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's working.
They're all named godless, so I just assumed.
Yeah, I know.
Not me.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that works out. Yeah, now he's doing good, and he's coming here on the 7th of November.
A month away.
Yeah, 4 weeks, 1 day, 17-ish hours or so.
You got it down to the second.
Well,
what are you counting? Right?
Actually, I have a counter done up, so it's actually I have it down to the second. I just got to get back in front of my computer. My arthritis has been bugging me, so I've been sitting on my bed and under the blankets because that keeps my legs warm and my back warm, so that the arthritis don't hurt nearly as much. But I've got a calendar, timeanddate.com vacation countdown. 4 weeks, 1 day, 17 hours, 14 minutes, and 12 seconds. 11 seconds. 9 seconds.
Yeah, we get it. Thanks.
5 seconds. 4. Not that I'm counting or anything, because I don't need to count. The computer does it for me.
Hey, there you go.
So excited. What?
All right, you guys. So, no, that's cool. It's cool that he's coming to see it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Like, is he moving up there, or what's going on?
Not yet. But who knows? Who knows in the future?
So, Neil, I'm noticing a pattern in your after parties, and that is that the people that you're after partying are quiet as fuck.
Because we spent a previous hour talking almost nonstop, man.
Nah. It's because we're all a bunch of loudmouth fuckers. That's what it is.
Well, that too.
I thought you were a loudmouth snook.
Yeah,
I am a loudmouth snook, and a lovable cunt.
I turn up and poke everyone, like watch my Noah's Ark video.
I still haven't watched your Noah's Ark video.
Trying to climb to the top of the ratings, you see. See me climbing to the top of the ratings.
Which ratings are we talking about?
I don't know.
Not that you're confused or anything.
Hey Neil, did you watch the video I posted for Devin Townsend doing epic loud the song Kingdom?
No, don't think so.
I thought I tagged you in it, man.
It's that one picture I was.
No, I haven't seen that one.
I'm gonna tag you in it again. It's really good. I would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Oh, I've got a little question for you people.
Devin Townsend?
Devin Townsend, yeah, he's a Canadian. He's from your neck of the woods.
I know him.
Yeah, you know him personally?
Yes, I do. I used to party with him.
Yeah, he's a fucking amazing musician and singer.
Yeah, I still talk to him from time to time, and Jed, his original bass player.
Dude, if you would totally like, if you strapping young lad, dude, if you got him to shout me out, I would fucking love you for all eternity. I swear to God, if you got him to just say, he doesn't even have to be nice. He could just be like, Duke Bonanza's a fucking cunt and I hate him, and I would love you forever.
Well, I'll see what I can do. I don't
have a little question for you.
I haven't talked to him in a few years, but I'll see what I can do.
Might take a while, but you might get it. Alright, I don't know if this is the thing where everyone's from, but around here, people have this nasty habit of taking their dogs for a walk in the woods. Oh. The dog does a nice little poo on the floor. No, it's gone to the wrong picture.
Yeah, that.
And they put it in a bag and then hang the bag from the tree and just leave it.
It's about 4 or 5 of them out in the front yard of my place right now, hanging from trees.
My question is, what the fuck do they think they're achieving here?
I think they don't want to take it with them, so when they double back around the path, they will grab it on the way by. But they never grab it on the way by.
No.
Just leave it.
I've seen people...
They leave it like a shit fruit hanging from a shit tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it happens.
But yeah, that's what I've seen people do. Is the logic is behind it that they'll come back and grab it on the way back, so they don't have to carry it around with them the whole time.
We even have doggy poop deposit boxes all around here. But people still fucking huck them into the trees, and they end up hanging. You can see them in the winter when the leaves fall off. There's like 4 or 5 fucking bags hanging in the trees here.
Yeah.
Well, of course, because it's like the smokers. If anybody smokes, sorry, but it's like the smokers. They're standing right next to a fucking ashtray and still dumps it on the ground. The ashtray could be empty, and they'll still dump it on the ground.
I don't do that.
No, I know. I'm not talking about you guys, but in general, like a lot of smokers do that.
You are totally talking about us. Yeah. That was a freaking throwdown. You were just like, fuck these guys in the goddamn stream. I boxed your ears. Yeah, but that would just...
your ashtray covered in ash, dear.
That would just turn me on. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, dear.
Damn it.
Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Somebody's put a thing on the Twitter. It says, "What's worse than a heartbreak?" Somebody replied, "Sharting." I can attest to that. Yes, that's pretty bad.
All right, you guys. I'm gonna shut her down because I've got some freshly made soup that I'm gonna have.
Oh, did you see what Hans said about his name?
Nope.
Yahweh is gracious.
His name is short for Johannes, and it means Yahweh is gracious. Yeah.
Oh.
Poor Hans. Oh, I'm so sorry. But you're gonna shut her down, I guess. Okay, bye.
Yeah, I gotta take off. So I got some freshly made soup to have, and my roommate was just spent some time in the kitchen whipping up a big beef barley vegetable thing. So I'm gonna go and have some.
Nice.
All right, brother. Love you guys.
I should probably go before his desk again.
Bye.
Thanks everyone for jumping in. And thanks again to BMillzebub for doing the chat with me earlier,
and not talking in the after stream.
Oh, sure, I did.
People just ran over me.
Yeah.
Especially
that to me in my first couple of streams.
Especially that loudmouth cunt Duke.
Yeah,
can't shut the fuck up.
Well, it happens when you get this many people in. Sometimes the little walkover happens,
yeah.
But I try to.
I realized that in my first couple of streams with more than like one person. But it was just okay.
Turns into a shit show. Say it if
It can. I mean, for the most part, we handle it pretty good, I think.
Oh, we usually do.
But anyways, guys.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Tune in on Wednesday. I'll be talking to Godless Iowan about his deconversion, even though he's posted a few videos on that. But we're gonna hear the condensed version. Yeah, I know. We'll hear the condensed version.
Video 23 now.
I think something like that. Yeah. But he's picked specific things along there. We're going to get the condensed version on my show. So, anyway, thanks again, guys, for jumping in. It's been fun, as always. And thanks for everyone that's still hanging out and watching in the chat. It's always a pleasure to have you guys around with your snarky little comments and stuff. Anyway, until next time, guys, we'll see you guys later on. And remember, as I always say, they call it faith because it's not knowledge.